Good morning everyone. In this video, we are going to cover the current affairs. For mobile optimized ebooks, please install GKToday Academy app and you can attempt the quiz in this app and you can read detailed explanation. For regular updates, please join our Telegram channel. The link is given in the description box. Now the revision PDF are uploaded on this Telegram channel. We have started a new channel, Civils Academy. It is relevant for state PCS and for UPSC examinations. So now let's start. We are going to cover important news events. So first is related to World Sustainable Development Summit. India is going to organize this summit and the theme of this summit is redefining our common future. The summit will be inaugurated by Prime Minister and this will be organized by TERI. Actually, it is a flagship event by TERI and TERI stands for the Energy and Resource Institute. Next is world's largest offshore wind farm. So it will be in South Korea. Right now, that means actually South Korea is going to build it by 2030. Right now, the world's largest offshore wind farm is in Britain. Next is Sphere X mission. So it is a mission of NASA to perform all sky survey to measure the near infrared spectrum of galaxies. Now for this mission, NASA has selected SpaceX. SpaceX is a private company of Elon Musk. NASA is a space agency of USA. It stands for National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Next is Square Kilometer Array. So recently this SKAO was in news. SKAO stands for Square Kilometer Array Observatory Council. So recently this council was in news because it approved world's largest radio telescope. So this SKAO is a intergovernmental organization related to radio astronomy and the headquarters is in UK. So this world's largest radio telescope approved by SKAO will be located in 2 continents, one in Africa. That means it will have array of antenna in 2 continents, one in Africa and another one is in Australia. Next is world's first high altitude Pseudo satellite. So this will be developed by HAL. HAL stands for Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. It is under Ministry of Defense. HAL was also in news because of Tejas. Tejas is LCA, that is Light Combat Aircraft. Headquarters of HAL is in Bengaluru. Bengaluru is in Karnataka. Next is world's first energy island. So this will be built by Denmark in North Sea. So next is world's tallest swing ride. So this is in Dubai in UAE. Next is beautiful things. So it is a book by son of current US President Joe Biden and name of his son is Hunter Biden. So Hunter Biden is the author of this book and Hunter Biden is the son of current US President. Next is Rishi Ganga power project. So this is in Uttarakhand. Recently, this power project was in news because of a disaster incident in Uttarakhand. Actually, Uttarakhand was in news because of glacier burst. Next is Assam Mala program. So this is a program related to Assam. Under this initiative, the focus will be on road infrastructure and economic growth in the state of Assam. Next is Akhtar Ali. So he was Indian tennis player. He passed away recently. Next is Bikram Singh Bedi. So recently Google Cloud appointed Bikram Singh Bedi as the MD for India. Next is Okonjo Iweala. So Okonjo Iweala is going to be the next DZ. Next DZ, that is Director General of World Trade Organization. She is from Nigeria and she is going to be the first female to head this organization. Apart from that, that means she is the first female and she is the first African to lead this organization. Previous one was, that means previous DZ of WTO was Roberto Azevedo. Recently, Roberto Azevedo is from Brazil. Next is Michael Bloomberg. So recently, Michael Bloomberg was reappointed as the climate envoy of United Nations. Next is Joe Root. So he is a cricket player from England. Recently, he was in news because he became the first batsman to score 200 runs in his 100th test match. Now, these kind of temporary factual questions are important for bank exams. Next is Track Child Portal. So this is a portal which has been developed by Ministry of Women and Child Development to track the missing children. CERT, that is Computer Emergency Response Team. It is under MEITY, that is Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Now the CERT is the nodal authority in our country for computer related issues. Recently it was in news as it published a statistics that there were approximately 2.46 lakh incidents of cybersecurity in 2019. 1990. Next is India's first geothermal field development project. So this will be implemented, or this will be executed by ONGC, and it is going to be in Leh in Ladakh. And this is going to be India's first geothermal field development project. Next is Samagra Shiksha scheme. So recently, Education Ministry decided to rename the schools and the hostels established under this Samagra Shiksha scheme, and these will be renamed after Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Please note that it is his 125th birth anniversary, and 23rd of January is going to be celebrated as Prakram Divas, and this is the birth anniversary of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. So the Samagra Shiksha scheme is a scheme by Education Ministry. Recently it was in news because now the schools and hostels under this scheme will be renamed after Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Next is Writing with Fire. So it is an Indian documentary film. Recently it was in news because it has won the award at Sundance Film Festival. Actually it is a documentary film about the Khabar Lahariya. Khabar Lahariya is India's only newspaper which is run by a Dalit woman. Next is SARS campaign. So SARS stands for Social Awareness and Action to Neutralize Pneumonia Successfully. So as the name suggests, it is a campaign to prevent the death because of pneumonia. Recently it was in news because Madhya Pradesh government launched this campaign in the state to reduce the death rate because of pneumonia. Next is CUTS International, that is Consumer Unity and Trust Society International. Recently this was in news because Niti Aayog has assigned the task to this entity to study the economic impact of judgments of our judicial system. For example, due to environmental concern, if a project is suspended, then what is going to be the economic impact on our country because of that judgment? So recently Niti Aayog assigned this task to this Jaipur-based research organization. Next is General K.S. Thimayya. So recently he was in news because our president inaugurated a museum dedicated to the life of General Thimayya. He was the Chief of Army from 1957 to 61, and his ancestral home is in Karnataka, and now it has been renovated and it has been converted into a museum. So General K.S. Thimayya was the army chief from 1957 to 1961. Recently he was in news because his home has been converted into a museum, and recently President Ramnath Kovind inaugurated this museum. Next is Steve Smith. So he is a cricketer from Australia. Recently he was in news because he won the Allen Border Medal. It is given to the best Australian cricketer. Now one more news was related to cricket, and it is related to Ishant Sharma. So Indian bowler Ishant Sharma became the third Indian pacer, that means fast bowler, to take 300 test wickets. Overall, Anil Kumble, Kapil Dev, R. Ashwin, Harbhajan Singh and Jahir Khan have achieved this milestone from Indian side. Next is DGCA, that is Directorate General of Civil Aviation. So recently Ministry of Civil Aviation and DGCA approved the use of drones by BCCI. So this conditional approval has been given. With this approval, now BCCI would be able to ensure live aerial filming of matches. So that means the top view of the match can be recorded with the help of these drones, and for that recently DGCA and Ministry of Civil Aviation has given conditional approval. Next is SDR Tech, that is Software Defined Radio Tactical. So these are advanced radio systems. Recently Defense Ministry signed agreement with BEL, that is Bharat Electronics Limited, and as per this agreement BEL is going to provide these advanced radio systems. So this is a contract worth 1000 crore rupees. These radio systems are developed by DRDO. Next is land identity. So Uttar Pradesh government initiated a system of issuing a unique identity to the land holdings. Like we have Aadhaar cards. So similarly for a land there will be a unique identity, and it is going to be a 16-digit identity. Uttar Pradesh was also in news because of its Varasat campaign. The idea behind this campaign was to resolve the land disputes in the rural areas. So now this land identity is one step ahead in this Varasat campaign. First, the state administration is going to resolve the disputes, and then unique identity will be provided to the land areas. Next is 50th Rotterdam Film Festival 2021. So this film festival was in news because of Khojangal. It is the first Tamil film to win the Tiger Award at this 50th Rotterdam Film Festival. Next is Indian Institute of Horticulture Research. So recently this institute was in news because of National Horticulture Fair. So this fair was organized in this institute and it is in Bangalore. Theme of this fair was Horticulture for Startup and Stand-up India. Kerala Feeds Regular. So this is the term, or this is the initiative which has been launched to encourage the goat farming. So name of initiative is Kerala Feeds Regular. It is for goat farming. As the name suggests, it is for Kerala. Next is PSMA, that is Agreement on Port State Measures. So recently FAO, that is Food and Agriculture Organization, was in news. It was in news in the context of illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing. And in this context, there is an agreement. And the name of this agreement is Agreement on Port State Measures. So FAO has requested countries to be the party of this agreement to prevent the illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing. Please note that India is not a party to this agreement as of now. So what are the important points? This is related to illegal fishing. That means this PSMA, that is Agreement on Port State Measures, is related to illegal fishing. It is related to FAO. Recently FAO requested countries that they should join this agreement. India is not a party to this agreement as of now. Headquarters of FAO is in Rome in Italy, and it is a United Nations organization. Recently it completed 75 years. That's why government launched, that means Government of India launched a coin of 75. Next is COVID Warrior Memorial. So the people who lost their life because of COVID, to commemorate such people, Odisha government is going to build a memorial to honor such personalities. Odisha was also in news because of its dispute with Andhra Pradesh. Actually, Andhra Pradesh is in news because of its panchayat elections. And in certain panchayats, Andhra Pradesh is conducting election. Argument of Odisha is that during last election, these panchayats were in the territory of Odisha. That means Odisha state government conducted elections for these panchayats. This time, Andhra Pradesh is illegally conducted elections in these panchayats. That's why Odisha approached Supreme Court for the decision of Andhra Pradesh to conduct the panchayat election in 3 villages in Koraput district. That is the entire issue. Next is International Day of Women and Girls in Science. So this is on 11th of February. World Pulses Day is on 10th of February. It is by FAO, that is Food and Agriculture Organization. The theme was Nutritious Seeds for Sustainable Future. Next is related to INS Virat. So INS Virat was decommissioned, and after that the process is going on for its dismantling. Now recently this company Envitech Marine Consultants Private Limited approached Supreme Court, and they said that they are ready to buy this INS Virat for 100 crore rupees, and then they are going to convert it in museum. That means they requested that this dismantling of INS Virat should be stopped. And in this context, recently Supreme Court put a stay on the dismantling of INS Virat. So for you, the name of company is important. It is Envitech Marine Consultants. It said that instead of dismantling it, we should convert it into a museum. So A, it will help us to preserve our history. Second, this will give us continuous revenue and it will make people aware about our past. Next is index-linked insurance policies. So for insurance sector, IRDAI is regulator. Now, what is the meaning of this term? Index-linked insurance policies. That means that returns on these insurance policies will be linked to index. So it may be linked to, say, Nifty, or it may be linked to Sensex. Answer in comment box. This Sensex index is released by which stock exchange? Next is Karnataka Digital Economy Mission Office. So recently, to promote the concept of digital economy, Karnataka launched this office. Objective is to increase the contribution of digital economy by 30% of GSDP. What is GSDP? It is Gross State Domestic Product. Next is BioAsia. So the theme of this year's BioAsia is Move the Needle. And this year's BioAsia event will focus on COVID-19. It will focus on pharma and medtech, that is medical technologies. Next is Mukhyamantri Vigyan Pratibha Pariksha. Vigyan stands for science. It is an initiative announced by Delhi government. Objective is to provide scholarship to the students in the field of science. Next is Houthi. So Houthis are the rebel group in Yemen. Recently Yemen was in news because USA decided to end its support for war in Yemen. Now US administration announced that they are going to remove Houthis from the list of foreign terrorist organization. Houthi is a rebel group and often Iran is accused of supporting Houthi group. Next is Gulmarg. So it is in Jammu and Kashmir. Recently it was in news because Indian Army laid the foundation stone of a national flag in Gulmarg in Jammu and Kashmir. And this is a 100 feet high national flag. Next is Platform Scale. This is the name of book and the author is Sangeet Pol Chaudhary. Next is Sahtut Dam. So India and Afghanistan are going to cooperate for this dam. This is going to be on the tributary of Kabul River. This dam is also known as Lalandar Dam. The capital of Afghanistan is Kabul. Taliban is a militant group active in Afghanistan. Recently, during Doha dialogue, USA tried to establish peace with Taliban. Last is Voice of Consumer Award. So recently BIAL, that is Bangalore International Airport Limited, won this award, and this award is given by ACI. What is ACI? It is Airports Council International. Robert Irwin. Robert Irwin was in news because he won the Wildlife Photographer of the Year award. He is from Australia and he won his award for his image Bushfire. It is a picture of Australian bushfire in 2020. Now, since this term Irwin is in news, please answer what was the objective of Gandhi-Irwin Pact. Next is Hima Das. So Hima Das is also known as Dhing Express. Recently, Assam government decided to appoint her as DSP, that is Deputy Superintendent of Police. She is an Indian sprinter and she is from Assam. Recently, Assam was also in news as it was the host of 36th National Junior Athletics Championship. Next is Mansa Varanasi. So recently she was in news because she won the VLCC Femina Miss India World 2020 and she is from Telangana. Next is Vijayanagara. So this is going to be the 31st district in the state of Karnataka and this has been carved out from the Bellary. Next is NIIF, that is National Investment and Infrastructure Fund Limited. So New Development Bank is going to invest $100 million in this National Investment and Infrastructure Fund Limited, and it is going to be a fund of funds. Next is 10-year space program. So recently Turkey announced 10-year space program. The president of Turkey is Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Next is CNA, that is Chin National Army. So it is a Myanmar-based armed insurgent group. Recently it was in news because it has sought asylum for its family members in Mizoram. Recently Myanmar was in news because of coup, and in the backdrop of this event, USA announced sanctions on the military leaders of Myanmar. Next is Maori People. So these are related to New Zealand. Recently this community was in news because a Maori political leader was ejected when he refused to wear tie in the parliament. Now New Zealand's parliament has dropped the requirement that male members need to wear necktie. That means now they no longer need to wear this necktie. Next is India's first CNG tractor. So recently our Road Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari launched India's first ever diesel tractor that has been converted to CNG, that is compressed natural gas. So it was first ever diesel tractor. Next is fossil of world's oldest animal. So these were found in Madhya Pradesh. Next is International Epilepsy Day. So this is observed on the second Monday of February, and this time it was on 8th of February. Apart from that, 11th of February was World Unani Day and 12th of February was Lunar New Year. This 11th of February was also observed as the death anniversary of Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay, and this was observed as Samarpan Divas. So which event was observed as the Samarpan Divas? It was the death anniversary of Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay. Next is Unfinished. So this is a book by Priyanka Chopra. And last is Koo. So it is an app like Twitter and it is an indigenous app. Jean-Claude Carrière. So Jean-Claude Carrière passed away recently, and Jean-Claude Carrière was a novelist and screenwriter from France. Next is related to Indian Railways. So recently Indian Railways created a new record for highest ever freight loading, and this is highest ever. So what is new record? It is 119.79 million tons. Next is Safer Internet Day. So it is observed every year on the second day of second week of February, and the theme was Together for a Better Internet. Next is Police Museum on Chambal Dacoits. So Madhya Pradesh is going to set up police museum at police headquarters in Madhya Pradesh in Bhind. Next is Jala Abhishekam. So this is a water conservation initiative, and recently Defense Minister Mr. Rajnath Singh inaugurated certain water structures. These water structures are made for water conservation, and these water structures were constructed in Madhya Pradesh. Next is Mandarin Duck. So recently this duck was in news because It was spotted in Assam after 118 years. Usually it is found in Eastern Asia. Nexus US-Mexico border wall project. So this was a project proposed by US President Donald Trump. As the name suggests, it is a project to make a wall between the US and Mexico. Recently it was in news because new US President Joe Biden has revoked the emergency order that was passed by Trump to construct the wall between US and Mexico. Next is related to DGCA, that is Directorate General of Civil Aviation. So recently it was in news because it announced an increment in the fare of air travel. So the upper price band has been increased by 30% and the lower band of price for the shortest route has been increased by 10%. You just need to remember this upper and lower limit. Next is related to leader of opposition in Rajya Sabha. So recently, Veteran Congress leader Ghulam Nabi Azad retired and now Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge has been named as the leader of opposition in Rajya Sabha. Mr. Azad retired from the Rajya Sabha recently. Turn Around India 2020. So this is a book by R.P. Gupta. So these were the most important questions. Now we are going to cover important news events. So first is Divya Drashti 2021. So this was a seminar related to Indian Army and this was organized by CLAWS, that is Center for Land Warfare Studies. Next is Meghalaya Police. So recently Meghalaya Police collaborated with State Bank of India for e-Challan. Next is Isro. Isro is Indian Space Research Organization. Recently it collaborated with CE Infosystems. Actually there is an entity of CE Infosystems and it is Map My India. So Map My India is an entity of CE Infosystems. ISRO is under Department of Space. Recently, this Department of Space signed an agreement with CE Infosystems. Objective is to give a boost to the India's own navigation system. What is the name of our own navigation system? It is NAVIC. It is IRNSS, that is Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System. It is also known as NAVIC and it has been developed by ISRO. Now answer in comment box. NAVIC is a constellation of how many satellites? Next is Chirag project. So the full form of Chirag stands for Chhattisgarh Inclusive Rural and Accelerated Agricultural Growth. So it is a project for agricultural sector and World Bank is going to provide financial support and it is a project related to Chhattisgarh. Next is LOC, that is line of credit. So recently Exim Bank provided $400 million as a line of credit to Maldives. Next is related to ISRO. So there is a satellite center of ISRO and the name of the center is UR Rao Satellite Center and it is in Bengaluru. Recently ISRO opened this satellite center for testing the satellites which are developed by the private sector and ISRO has done this for the first time in the history. That means it has opened the center for testing of private satellites. Recently 2 satellites which were developed by Indian startups were tested at this UR Rao Satellite Center. These 2 satellites are Space Kids India and Pixel. Pixel is incorporated as 6G. Next is NEGPA, that is National E-Governance Plan in Agriculture. So this is a centrally sponsored scheme. In our last video, we already discussed the difference in centrally sponsored and central sector scheme. Recently, it was in news because the scheme has been extended up to March 2021. So it has been extended up to 31st of March 2021. Next is DigiLocker app. So like you have physical locker, this is a digital locker. And IRDAI, that is Insurance Sector Regulator, has advised to the insurance companies to issue the digital insurance policies using this DigiLocker app. IRDAI stands for Insurance Regulatory Authority of India. Now this DigiLocker is an initiative by MEITY, that is Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Next is Women Excellence Award 2021. So this is an award by SERB, that is Science and Engineering Research Board. So 4 personalities were selected for this award. These are Sobhna Kapoor, Antara Banerjee, Sonu Gandhi and Ritu Gupta. SERB is an institution under DST, that is Department of Science and Technology. Recently, this Department of Science and Technology was also in news because of Vigyan Jyoti. This Vigyan Jyoti initiative was in news because its second phase was launched on 11th of February. 11th of February is special because this day is celebrated as International Day of Women and Girls in Science. Vigyan Jyoti is an initiative to promote girls to take interest in science and this is an initiative of DST, that is Department of Science and Technology. Next is Yoshihiro Mori. So he was the chief of Tokyo Olympic Organizing Committee. Recently he was in news because he is going to resign as the chief of Tokyo Olympics Organizing Committee. Please note that Tokyo is the host of 2021 Olympic Games. Tokyo is in Japan. Next is Mario Draghi. So Mario Draghi is going to be the new Prime Minister in Italy. And last is related to Sarojini Naidu. So her birth anniversary was celebrated as National Women's Day and it was on 13th of February. She is known as Nightingale of India or Bharatiya Kokila. 13th of February is also celebrated as World Radio Day. On the other hand, 12th of February is the birth anniversary of Swami Dayanand Saraswati and he was the founder of Arya Samaj. 12th of February is also celebrated as National Productivity Day and this is celebrated by National Productivity Council. This National Productivity Council is under Commerce Ministry. So these were the most important news events. Thank you and that's all for the day.